Hey, everybody. Shane here, daily-astrocat.com. And today is Saturday. It's the 15th of August. So let's go, right? Look, the moon is still void of course in Virgo, and it's not going to enter Libra until 10:20 this morning. So you know that cool, groovy kind of Virgo energy we had yesterday? Yeah, we're still going to have a little bit of it this morning as we're heading into it, right? Mercury finds Jupiter at 7:23 a.m. Now, remember, my times are East Coast times, right? So, while the moon is in Virgo, now the house lights go down and the stage lights go up. Okay. There was something about yesterday's moon in Virgo that just kind of felt good, right? I had a lot of people commenting to me about that. There was a culling of a sort. We put old tasks to rest, and decisions had to be made, and in some cases, lives and livelihoods could have been affected. Now, those who are left standing on this stage must face the light and decide where this is going to take us. That's pretty much all of us, too, because even if you were one of the people that things happen to, you still have to make decisions, right? So, and we're moving in decisions, and we're moving in directions that we have been setting for ourselves since, let's call it July 4th of this year, but we're really on a second cycle of this. Now, we have the morning to decide about this, okay, what it is we're going to do and how we're heading. Okay, the moon in Virgo can impart a level head at moments of stress. It can also impart stress because it can be nervous and can start to bother your gut, right? However, we're finding ourselves just in this state of composure, and it's really I don't know how else to explain it except that there is a state of composure that we're feeling, especially as we went through yesterday and today, as we're starting to tie up some of these loose ends, because remember, the nodes have shifted, so they're no longer in that Pisces-Virgo axis. And with that being with us being liberated from that, we're able to get back to the logical, to get back to the analytical, and to get back into doing just the work that needs to be done rather than trying to be done with it or trying to be done with the details. Details matter, and they matter even more now than they ever did before, because now we're beyond that point. Now it's bluster that's not going to matter. It's the apparent heads of things that's not going to matter. So decide. Look, now, if you decide it before the moon hits Libra, or you want to do that, because guess what? Otherwise, you're going to risk overthinking it, and you won't be able to make a decision. Mercury and Jupiter take and broadcast our words and energy across the channels we have established. They're meeting up this morning, right? Yes, at 7:23 in the morning. Broadcasting, getting it out there. Jupiter expansion, Mercury communication, Mercury, the senses. Now, this is an interesting one, because the senses, what are our senses? Electrical impulses, energy, vibe. That's what we're talking about. Now, let's think about this. Now, the excess energy that we have, right, will need an outlet as well. And there will be a branching off and perhaps a merge further down the line. Mercury and Jupiter are the direction, and anchoring it is a hunger, not to be held down, but to be free to think and to be absolute beings of light and energy. The pursuit of this will be slow and methodical, from Leo to Scorpio to Pluto as we progress throughout the year. The pursuit of this, yes, that's what it's going to be. This, in turn, restores our emotional sense of balance. Now, today's keyword is arrival. We've arrived at some kind of like a conclusion here, right? We're kind of through that first phase of the eclipses and of the first eclipse, the solar eclipse. And now we can feel those nodes starting to align, and the direction starting to change ever so slightly as we're able to see things that we had to put out of our mind earlier start to come into focus. And as we're starting to put new things, with a new emphasis on Pluto things, right? The Aquarius things, Pluto and Aquarius things, because that's where Pluto's at. And, this is where that bottom-up power to the people, that's where it's coming from. That's where it's ultimately heading. So The color is a pastel green. Now, Leo season is now outside the cauldron that was formed, and that cauldron is going to start to slowly begin to drift, okay? Now, it hasn't quite gotten to that point yet because we've got the moon there kind of like holding, moon and Venus are still kind of like very much there. But they're going to start moving, and they're going to start moving away. So now, think about this. Venus is going to be super important during all of this. And I'm thinking deeply into this as far as our calendar year is concerned, right? Venus is how we create, how we love, how we attract things to ourselves, right? It is very creative, and it also includes how we enjoy the things that we're doing as well, right? There's enjoyment to Venus. And it's a benefic, so it's going to be helpful for us to know where that's going. Venus is going to be going retrograde. And that's going to be very interesting because it's going to form a petal. And it's going to form a petal in the fixed sign of Scorpio. So that's where that next petal is going to be forming. So this is another one of those recurring phases that we go through. You can count on it 8 years ago. Think about 8 years ago. Think about where you were then. Think about where you are now when this petal starts to form. Just looking deeply ahead for you into some of the future of this stuff in the near future, right? No, we're not going to go too far crazy. Look, how you create and how you attract, it's concentrated in the flames of this fixed energy. Think about it. We've got Mercury and Jupiter in fixed Leo. We've got the petal that's going to be formed in Scorpio. So we're going to have these things going on that's going to take this fixed energy, and Pluto is in fixed Aquarius. So now, the concepts that are being laid down today, those are going to be there. Now, that Virgo calm that you're feeling in the morning is there because you've done the work and you have lightened the load. So now we're able to take on some of these more complex and the evolving things that are starting to come out of all of this, right? The branching and just the movement towards what's next. Today would have been a good day. Today, honestly, would have been a good enough day. It's summertime, right? Kids already thinking about going to school, if they're not back to school already. And I can tell you that seasonal changes are going to be here before you know it. I see them all the time when I'm up in the North Country. So, look, pumpkin spice will be everywhere. Just give it a chance, right? Just like Halloween. Now, life would seem to be good for many, except for the ones who got caught up in some of the Virgo moments yesterday. But, that was kind of like a retooling, right? Virgo's retooling itself and getting ready to move forwards. And in order to retool, we have to just be able to concentrate what it is that we know, analyze with the data, everything like that, be able to take it forward and move with it. Now, there's an interesting little wrinkle there, though, because Mars is in Cancer. So our actions are actually still intuitively based. And just because we're going to get Virgo back online doesn't mean that Virgo doesn't have a direct line to the thing across from it, which is Pisces. So, and that always works in that weird way. That's a weird combination of things. There's something different about that. I think it has something to do with Persephone, and Persephone being, Virgo, but also being in the underworld in Scorpio, and that in turn is trine with Pisces in the water. So honestly, and with Mars being in Cancer, that's kind of like a little watery extra there for you. So it's kind of it makes it very interesting, and it makes it very very Shane. Okay, so with the shift of the nodes, the details that we were trying to give up mattered, okay? 2 years ago, something snapped. Think about it. 2 years ago, it just went nuts. The authoritarians in the world decided that sharing was more than they could bear. And they threw off the balance of power, right? As religion gained a foothold in places where it had no business being. It was a cynical justification for inflicting cruelty and pushing divisiveness, because when those nodes shifted to Libra, we got rid of equality and harmony and all that stuff, because that was holding us down. That was holding down the individual. Now, why? I don't know. But it just seems that it's played out that way, and it really shouldn't have. Now, look, it's time for us to take back the power that rightly belongs to the people and not the plutocrats. And you don't have to take my word for it. Pluto in Aquarius is trying to get this done as well. So shaking things up is what Uranus does best. So our last aspect is going to be the moon, Trine Uranus. So changes in the air. And where is 10 degrees Gemini in your chart? Just asking, because when Mercury and Jupiter were conjunct, Uranus was at 10 degrees, right at the date point here on the East Coast. So where is it in your chart? How about 10 degrees Leo? Take a look at that too, because that's where that's where they were together. So that's where Jupiter and Mercury joined. The message from me will be very clear, and it will begin to move some stuck energy. That's right. I'm just putting that out there. Clear messages, moving stuck energy. Now, this is not the time to back down. Not for me, not for you. Okay, so in 1248, this always fascinates me, the construction of the new Cologne Cathedral in the Gothic style begins with the laying of the foundation stone by Archbishop Conrad von Hochstadter. Now, that's not the important part. The important part of this is that it was completed in 1880, so 1248 to 1880. That's a long time. That's a commitment. Okay? And our birth is Jimmy Webb. Jimmy Webb's still alive even. He's a songwriter, American singer-songwriter. He's the guy that wrote MacArthur Park and Up, Up, and Away. Now, how this supposed reference could miss one of the greatest songs of all time, by many people's estimation, the Wichita Lineman, is beyond me. But he also wrote Wichita Lineman. And there you go. He's born in Elk City, Oklahoma. And that's all there is. Happy birthday, Jimmy Webb. Let's recap, shall we? Today's keyword is arrival, because we've arrived at something. Don't know quite what, but I'm glad you're here for the ride. And the color is pastel green. I appreciate and love every single one of you. I really would like to thank everybody who's expressed interest in having a chart read. Just threw that out there, saying that, it's possible that maybe something we could do. Yep, that's still a possibility as well. I'm going to try to work on making it a bit easier, but it's technology, man, and technology just it takes away from astrology. It's just it's one of those things, right? It's a necessary evil, but it's like as you do it, it takes away from one thing when you have an opportunity to do another. However, the readings are going to be very they're fun. They're a lot of fun, and there's a lot to be learned from them. So thank you so much. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Let's give it a number. Today's a 7. Happy astrocatting.